Good people of a great nation, I welcome you. Like I promised, we have with us right now Dr. Vladimir Kirk, the country representative of Konrad Adenauer Stiftung. You're welcome, Doc.
Good morning, everyone.
It's a pleasure to have you join us on this program. Now, let's go directly to the issue of discussion here. Tell us a bit about yourself, how long you've been in Nigeria, and what you do generally.
Yeah, Gide, thank you very much for the invitation. I truly appreciate it. You know that we have been traveling now for some interventions of our organization, especially in the area of capacity buildings for state houses of assembly in Nigeria. So you know well that I've been here for a while, in fact for almost 3 years in Nigeria, being the head of our office, Konrad Adenauer Foundation. Konrad Adenauer Foundation is a German foundation that is associated with the Christian Democratic Union, the ruling party in Germany, the party of Angela Merkel in that case, the Chancellor of Germany. However, we are also part of the German development partner system and therefore funded by the German government in order to support especially democratic governance abroad. So in total we have 100 offices in the world and one of those offices is in Nigeria. We founded our office in 2001. In order to support the development, the democratic development in the country. Now, I joined the foundation in 2018, actually in May, to pass a preparation period of 3 months in Germany before I got posted to Nigeria. And what I think qualified me very well for the job itself was that my background is actually an academic one. I've been lecturing in Germany for many years, being a research fellow at universities, of course finishing my PhD. But I also worked for a couple of years in the Ministry of Economics in one of our states, federated states in Germany. Germany is like Nigeria, a federation. We have much less states than you have.
How many states do you have in Germany?
We have only 16.
16? Oh, Nigeria 36.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah. So you are working in one of the states?
Yes. I was working for one of the states, and for some time I was also representing the state as a public servant in the second national chamber, parliamentary chamber of Germany. We have also 2 chambers but a different system, I have to admit.
So if you are to draw a comparison, Nigeria, Germany, in terms of democratic structure, what would be your opinion? You have 2 chambers, but you say it's different.
Yes.
Then I know you have president, and then you have prime minister. Is it Chancellor?
We call it Chancellor.
You call it Chancellor. So just walk us through what is the German democratic structure, so to speak.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's a federation, as I said, right? So we have autonomous, to a very wide extent, autonomous local governments. We have, to a very wide extent, autonomous federated states, 16 in total, and of course a national government. Now, when it comes to elections, I was listening to your introduction to this program. When it comes to elections in Germany, especially national elections, we don't elect the chancellor directly.
Okay.
Yeah, who is actually the most powerful, in terms of political power, the most powerful person in our country. Even though we have a president, but it's not you can't compare it with Nigeria. Our president signs also laws into effect, but he has not a huge say in terms of political power. He's like a moral, ethic power in the country, whereas the chancellor represents the ruling party.
Okay.
Right? So what we do actually is we elect, we vote for parties, like Christian Democratic Union, or the Social Democrats, or the Liberals, the Greens, and so on and so on. And the party that seizes most of the votes has the majority in the parliament and can usually appoint the chancellor. The chancellor in our country gets elected by the parliament.
So it's like a UK system of parliamentary system where the party with majority form the government and elect the prime minister in
Exactly,
UK. Okay.
exactly. It's not the way in Nigeria of win or die, actually.
Yeah,
right?
well, winners take all.
Oh, winners take all, yes.
So in Nigeria, we run our own presidential system. So we have an executive president. In your case, you didn't have that. Everybody comes to the parliament on equal basis, elected into the parliament, and then if your party happens to win majority of seats, you get to form government. Is that what you are saying?
Exactly, exactly. But of course, in order to form government, you need to have a absolute majority, meaning at least 50% of the seats in the parliament.
Okay.
Right, and this has happened not very often in the past. In German history, since we became a democracy after the Second World War, so usually the party that gains most of the votes and has in fact a simple majority, probably, or a majority to some extent in the parliament, or the most seats in the parliament, needs to form a coalition with another party, usually, in order to have the majority, the relevant majority in the parliament to appoint the chancellor. And maybe one more thing I wanted to point out that is truly different as well. Actually our chancellors are members of parliament as well.
Oh, despite being of the executive branch, they also belong to the legislative
exactly.
branch. Okay.
And some of our ministers could be also members of parliament, state secretaries that are appointed by the parliament, so permanent secretaries. We have some from the public service, but on national level we have also permanent secretaries in the ministries that represent the ruling the ruling parties in the parliament.
Anyway, Dr. Craig, let's not spend too much time.
I understand. Okay.
But it's a very good understanding. I mean, I never knew this. Maybe because I've not taken time off to study the German political structure. But it's very good. It's very good to note that you have a system that is working. Now, the party, you said Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, or Stiftung means foundation.
Foundation, yes.
Okay,
yes.
So Konrad Adenauer Foundation has been in Nigeria since 2000. That's 20 years ago, and it's a party. All the foundations are from political parties who are in government. Is that true?
No, who are represented in the parliament.
In the parliament,
yes.
Okay, who are represented. So, more like, I don't know if you know, in International Republican Institute and National Democratic Institute for International Affairs,
yes,
which are operating in Nigeria, but are also offshoot foundations from the U.S. Political party. Is that how it is in Germany?
Yeah, actually it is yes, as you said, yes, very similar.
Very similar. So, okay, so Nigerian politician watching me, this is a lesson to learn. I know the People's Democratic Party has what they call People's Democratic Institute, but it has never really taken off effectively as to be able to have, foundations outside of Nigeria. I'm not even sure of the state of that. That's the one party that I've tried to kind of copy what obtains. So now, Konrad Adenauer, I learned, was the former prime minister, former chancellor.
Or still chancellor.
In Germany. Is that true? Who is Konrad Adenauer?
Yes. Now I understand the question. Konrad Adenauer was the first chancellor in Germany after the Second World War.
Okay.
Who was, of course, in many ways responsible for the reconstruction of Germany after this very destructive war. After
the Second World War.
After the Second World War,
1945.
exactly. And He was not only responsible for the reconstruction of Germany, but also the reintegration of Germany in the international community. You can even say that Konrad Adenauer, among others, is one of the founding members of the European integration project we know today as the European Union.
Okay.
And this project was designed in the very beginning also to give Germany the opportunity to come back, to be acknowledged again and recepted again by the international European community.
Okay, that's very good to know. Now let's go to 20 years of CAS in Nigeria. You've been here 3 years, but at least you saw handover note, and you have institutional memory of staff who have worked for a very long time. So what impact do you think CAS has made in Nigerian democracy?
That's a very good question, I think. You know, development processes, they don't usually result in short-term effects, especially when it comes to the development of political systems. You know, political systems like democracies only work as good as the democratic attitude of elites, meaning politicians, but also the citizens, is developed as well. Now, our organization has been, over the past years, has been providing especially civic education in many areas in order to provide citizens, but also political elites, with the right attitude towards democracy and democratic values especially. I mean, one of our longest standing programs so far is the capacity building for state houses of assembly in Nigeria. And I think this is a very good example to also explain the challenges we have with our programs here. Today we have in total 13 state houses of assembly we partner with. These capacity buildings today we do conduct with the National Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies in partnership. However, I think Nigerians are well aware that with every election there is a very high turnover in the parliaments. In some of our partner state houses of assembly, more than 90% of the members of parliament in 2019 had to leave and were replaced with new members of parliament, most of them not actually provided, having the knowledge how a parliament should work properly. Now, that's where we chip in, actually. Right, so right away after 2019, we organized first capacity buildings for the then member-elect, so the parliaments were not even inaugurated, with various experts that were actually explaining to most of the members what it means to be a member of parliament and what the core functions of a member of parliament are. Of course, meaning representation, meaning legislative actions, meaning, of course, third, oversight.
Oversight, yeah. Now, you have also been working with National Assembly.
Yes.
Different committees of National Assembly. Walk us through how many departments, or how many, no, not departments, how many committees have you been working with? What has been their response? Have they been impactful in terms of because you raise a very valid question, Doc. We have high turnover of public officials, elected public officials, particularly in the legislative arm, whether you talk of national or state assembly. Many a time 90% of them will not come out of a parliament of 24, 30, 40. You will see two who has had maybe 2 tenure. So everybody, every 4 years, you are training fresh hands, and you are not sure what 2023 will be, whether it will still be same or whether there will be a dynamic. So in terms of working with National Assembly, what has been the response of the leadership and then the committees that CAS has been working with?
Yeah, in fact, in the very beginning when I arrived here, we had already ties and collaborations with the National Assembly, but I deliberately put a focus to intensify these ties and collaborations with the Assembly. In the beginning, I have to admit, it took us some time to convince the members, especially in the House, so we partner more with the House than with the Senate, to convince them of our program. Meanwhile, I have to admit, I'm myself truly surprised about the willingness and readiness of chairmen of various committees in the House and members to participate in our capacity building seminars. Now, you were asking with how many committees do we work? In fact, we do work very closely with the House Committee on Human Rights. Recently, we had a very successful capacity building with the House Committee on Anti-Corruption. Last year, we had a capacity building seminar for the House Committee on National Security and Intelligence, and I could continue to name a couple of more.
Wow.
But maybe the most important project that we have right now with the House and the National Assembly in general, also in partnership with the National Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies, is in fact to work together with the Office of the Speaker and the House Committee on Monitoring and Implementation of the Legislative Agenda on how to reform the security sector in Nigeria to make this sector especially more efficient. Let me briefly just say what this initiative is about. We have been running since 2016 a project on security sector reform in Nigeria to support the government, but also and especially the parliament in this area. And over time, we, with our partners, realized that one major issue in Nigeria that was always addressed by our Nigerian experts is inter-agency collaboration. The issue of interagency rivalry that deprives the agencies of the opportunity to work closely together and to tackle security threats in Nigeria. So we would like to overcome this rivalry with provisions that will help agencies to work more efficiently together. It is very clear that one agency alone, like the army or the police, because of scarcity of resources, won't be able to tackle all the security or insecurity issues Nigeria is facing today. So interagency collaboration is key. Now, we developed, or actually we commissioned last year a survey on overlapping mandates because we realized that this is one issue in the area of interagency collaboration with very clear recommendations on how to approach them. And they can be only approached by the legislature in form of acts at the end that hopefully, or bills that hopefully get ascended. So we developed together very closely with our experts, very closely with the security-related committees in the House, in total 9 bills, designed 9 bills that should streamline the security sector in regard to a better interagency collaboration. These 9 bills have passed already the first reading in the House, and we will of course accompany with our programs, with our seminars, with retreats that we will organize up to policy dialogues, public policy dialogues, this process in the hope that at the end the bills will pass the House, the bills will pass the Senate, and will be also accepted by the government, the ministries that relate to these bills, and of course get endorsement by the security agencies, so that finally the bills will get ascended.
So that's interesting. Aside from working with the parliament, is there other things that CAS does, other areas of intervention CAS does in Nigeria?
Yes, we do. We partner actually very closely with the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, especially the former Ministry of Budget and National Planning.
Yeah, it's now Ministry of Budget, National Planning and Finance, I guess. Yeah.
Exactly. But still there is a Minister of State with Prince Clem Akpa, who is the Minister for Budget and National Planning. We do partner very closely with the ministry in order to accompany the process of development and designing national development plans, which is very crucial for Nigeria
Very,
to have
very.
proper plans, to know where the government is heading to, what kind of interventions, what kind of measures are necessary to be taken in order, for instance, to improve the economic situation. We do also partner with recently we started a partnership with the Ministry of Police Affairs. And that actually revolves also on the issue of interagency collaboration, but in the sphere of policing. We have many MDAs that do work or are assigned to provide services in the area of policing, and also these agencies need to be interlinked much better in order to provide the service the citizens of Nigeria need in terms of security, right? What we also do in the security sector is to provide training on interagency collaboration, but also democratic understanding, respect for human rights, trust between citizens and security officers. We do these trainings for senior to mid-cadre levels, especially in 3 regions that are affected by insecurity. We provide these trainings in the Northeast, especially for the states of Yobe, Bauchi and Gombe. We provide the trainings in the Northwest for Kano, Katsina and Zamfara, and we also provide these trainings in the South for Delta, Rivers State and Bayelsa State.
So you have yourself spread, but what's the staff strength of CAS in Nigeria?
We have about 16 to 17 office members.
And you are doing all of these very big...
yes, we are doing that, yes.
I know you always try to ensure value for money. Now, I'm also aware of you have a radio program,
yes,
Vision Nigeria. What is the rationale behind that kind of radio discussion program?
Yeah.
Why did you do that?
Yeah. Before I answer to this question, I would like to get back to your last comment, how we do that. Of course, without reliable Nigerian partners, it wouldn't be possible. I have to admit that very, very clearly. And you have been traveling with us for the State Houses of Assembly capacity buildings as a resource person, and you know well that we collaborate very closely with NIELS in that case.
That's
now,
true.
for instance, with the trainings for security officers, we collaborate very closely with the NSCDC, for instance. Also, we have close ties to other headquarters of security agencies in Abuja. And of course, we also hire experts, we hire consultants, we hire additional staff project staff, in order to be able to conduct all these interventions either in Abuja or in other states. So what we have is actually a core office, right, that organizes many other people around our office to be able to deliver these services in Nigeria to our partners, and of course at the end, hopefully, to the effect of the benefit of the citizens in this country.
Okay.
The radio program.
Very briefly. Okay, very briefly to the radio program.
You know, about the radio program, it's a very simple approach. You know, we have a very strong focus on political elites and, for instance, senior officers, public servants in the government. But we also would like to reach out with ideas of political civic education, and especially democratic understanding to the citizens of Nigeria. And we very, very early, I think about in 2005, we established this radio program on Ray Power that is aired every Wednesday at 1 p.m. On topics that relate to the democratic development of the country.
Very interesting perspective. Now, there have been accusations against development partners that how do I put it now? That when they say they are supporting Nigeria with X million of euros or dollars, there is a way they take the money back through international consultants, through you have to buy their products, all manner of things. That this, somebody call it politics of AIDS, AIDS. You know, when you say you are giving aid to countries, but in a way you find a creative way to channel the money. If you have worked for an organizations where in my former life where most of the consultants are foreign consultants, and you know how they get paid. They you know what the entire Nigerian staff will collect in a month is what one consultant will get, and then you bring them for 3 months, 6 months, sometimes so, and then you have to buy the products made in their country and all of it. So people have accused some of the development partners that, you know, it's just a facade, that they actually are just they will tell you they are supporting you with X amount, but half of that or 3/4 of that amount is channeled back to the country. How will you react to this?
I am quite aware of this accusation. Now, for our organization, I can sincerely say that this is not our approach. Especially not our approach in Nigeria. We work almost only with Nigerian experts, because we believe if you want to develop this country towards a better democratic condition, right, you need ownership by Nigerians. We can't bring in our let's say German consultants, and they would try probably to impose a order, a system, ideas, attitudes, maybe on your political elites. And from my experience of 3 years in Nigeria, I can guarantee you that the knowledge that might get conveyed, or the attempt to convey this knowledge, will be rejected very quickly. So what we truly do is to look for those people in Nigeria that are willing, that are ready to work with us, and that actually can truly move something and change something in this country. Probably not immediately, but over time. And I would like to emphasize again this word of ownership, which is so important. If our development work in Nigeria is not considered as the work of Nigerians, how are you going to accept your people, the citizens of Nigeria? How are they going to accept what we actually do? Now, let me say something about the accusation you raised. Different countries have different approaches at the end, of course, right? And I think that there is a huge difference between a German approach, then there is a difference between German and the US probably approach, and the DFID, the UK approach, and of course the Chinese approach, not to forget the Chinese, who are also considered a major development partner of Nigeria, especially in form of loans that are given to Nigeria, especially the Chinese. Probably your accusation fits best to them, because they give loans to Nigeria. These are usually bound to infrastructure projects, and then there are Chinese companies in Nigeria that also bring in Chinese workers, and then these loans are given to these Chinese companies, for instance, to build roads, to build airport terminals, to build probably railway connections, whatever. So it means that there is a circulation of money from China that comes to Nigeria and goes back to the Chinese
round
companies.
tripping.
Yes. So what I'm saying is, briefly, you need also to distinguish between the sectors of development partners. Or so, for instance, GIZ, I was mentioning them before. I think we have a division of labor in Germany, actually, right? So there's GIZ. They're responsible for technical development partnership with Nigeria, whereas our political foundations, you mentioned some of them, among others ours, Konrad Adenauer Foundation, we are in the area of political capacity building, especially democratic governance, however, also with different focal points within our portfolios. We don't do the same, we do not usually relate to the same elites, to the same partners, to the same organizations, and so on and so on. So if you compare this on a technical level, of course, I can to some extent understand that you need foreign expertise as well. That might not be available to that extent necessary in Nigeria. And of course, for every development agency, the crucial question is to which extent you can bring in, you should bring in foreigners, experts in order to drive your programs, or to which extent you can get national experts who can drive the program as well as foreigners.
Well, at least I can vouch for CAS. My relationship has shown that you believe more in using Nigerian nationals for your capacity. So, walk us through very briefly your ties with NIELS, National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies. What brought about that kind of partnership?
Well, looking at the mandate of NIELS, you will immediately identify not only similarities, but actually goals that are the same. Right? So also NIELS is assigned by the government, by the National Assembly, especially since it's an institute of the National Assembly, to also provide capacity building to state houses of assembly and especially to the members of the National Assembly. And they are also supposed to consult the members through research work, for instance, when it comes to certain developments or when it comes especially to certain legislative actions in the House or in the Senate, in the National Assembly. So we do more or less very similar things, and I think it was just natural to approach each other and to forge a strong partnership to be able to join resources at the end as well. As I said, we need strong partners in Nigeria. We don't have all the resource persons in our organization, in our office, but of course NIELS has many researchers, senior researchers in the area of democratic theories, of democratic development, of bill drafting, whatever is necessary in order to support members of a parliament. And I believe that this is a very great partnership to the benefit of both organizations.
So, you CAS, there is ERIBO, there is GIZ, there is Frederick Ebert, and several other German development partners in Nigeria. What level of interface or cooperation do you have among yourself?
Well, we know, of course, each other, and to some of them we have closer ties, to others we have more a relation that is based on coordination of activities. Okay. So we get all funded by the same source, we have to say, right? There is a Ministry of Development in Germany, and we all receive our money from the government at the end, from the very same ministry. It's taxpayers' money from Germany, and we are of course not supposed to double or to triple our activities in Nigeria, but to be able to distinguish from each other in terms of interventions. Now, of course, there are overlaps to some extent also with GIZ, and when it comes to GIZ, we try to coordinate as good as possible, because also GIZ, even though they have a very technical approach in Nigeria, for instance, in the area of vocational training of large or many citizens in Nigeria, they also relate to the National Assembly when it comes to specific sectors and specific interventions that should, for instance, support the development of the agricultural sector, right? So they might also do consultancy. But when they do that, we communicate with each other to see how we can demarcate our activities. Now, if they do something like that, we should now chip in and start doing the same, for instance, right? With the political foundations, it's much easier to distinguish from one another because initially said we are aligned with parties in Germany, and these parties, all of them have different value-based ideals. Right, so the Christian Democratic Union, we emphasize especially liberty, the rights of freedom, human rights, of course, a social market economy, but with the emphasis also on the market economy. And whereas, for instance, Friedrich Ebert, they align with the Social Democrats. And the Heinrich Böll aligns with the Green Party in Germany. And this automatically creates a environment where you have natural partners in your host countries. Now, let me give you one example. We work closely with certain committees, for instance, in the National Assembly. I mentioned some of them, in order to also represent the value-based ideas we stand for. However, for instance, Friedrich Ebert Foundation, which is aligned with the Social Democrats, of course, relate to the unions. In
labor unions.
Labor unions, exactly, labor unions in Nigeria, and of course their interest is to strengthen labor rights in Nigeria. And then we have the Böll Foundation aligning with the Green Party in Germany. They are much more into climate change, the protection of the environment, and they have some other areas. I think they do a lot in the area of rights for women. So we have a very clean division of labor, even between our political foundations, that is based on our value-based orientations.
Unfortunately, our time is up. But your last word in terms of what do you think Nigeria can learn from Germany? Germany being one of the world powers, being one of the developed countries, G7, G8, Germany is there, doing great things, industrialization and all of that, political development. Compared to Nigeria, what do you think we should, the future looks like between Nigeria and Germany in terms of, sharing thoughts and ideas on development?
Well, this question of what can you learn from Germany is, of course, always a tricky one. Let me put it that way. You know, Nigeria is not Germany, and Nigerians are not German, of course.
Sure.
So what you need in Nigeria are tailor-fit solutions to the Nigerian problems that need to be provided by the government. But let me give you one example, however. You know, there has been the debate on state police for a long time, for actually since at least 2-3 years in Nigeria, and I know that it was popping up before as well, to which extent, for instance, governors should have the autonomy, or the states, not the governors, sorry, the states to have their own police, for instance. Now, we in Germany, we have state police. And the states are autonomous to decide how to use the police, of course, in the framework of the laws of the federation and, of course, the state laws. So rule of law is very important. And we have, of course, checks and balances to make sure that, for instance, prime ministers on state level, what here would be the governors or the governments itself, are actually checked and balanced not to misuse the police force itself. And I think it would be worth to look into the German federal structure and to see how we organize it, to have an idea probably how to organize it in Nigeria as well, if it comes one day to the decision to decentralize police. Right. Another thing, what I truly always like to refer to is the German pragmatism. We are very, very pragmatic people. We truly try, when we have a problem, to look into it and to find very clear solutions to it. So that's often a very direct approach, right? Even though we have debates, parliamentary debates, of course, and we have, of course, diverging sides with different interests and bringing in different aspects when it comes to the design of these solutions. I spoke about value-based ideals of different parties in Germany. But still, I think what most unites, apart from a German identity, of course, Germans, is the very pragmatic approach to solve problems. And this is something I sometimes miss in Nigeria and would wish to see it also more lively being exercised in Nigeria. But of course, that is not up to us to decide.
Yeah. I wish you can talk more. I wish we have more time. But nevertheless, I do hope when next I ask you to be our guest on this show, you will oblige us, because I believe we still have a lot to talk about on comparison. What we can, the kind of exchanges, the kind of ideas. You've given us one, police, state police, German federalism, how it works on Prince, and all of that. Pragmatic approach to solving problems. Thank you very much, Dr. Vladimir Kirk, for coming on this show. It's been a very wonderful time with you, and I wish you the best. Please stay safe and enjoy the rest of your day. Dear viewers, that will be the size of our first discussion segment. Like I said, there will be another one where we'll be looking at the role of research institutions in solving Nigeria's insecurity challenges. Please stay tuned.